Hello and welcome to another Quickcrop video. Well, today we're looking at pruning gooseberry bushes. Now, pruning gooseberries and red currants or white currants is in fact exactly the same process, but we do have a separate currant video which you can also view on our YouTube channel. Well, you can see behind me with the leafless trees that it's still winter. In fact, it's the end of March, and that's the perfect time to prune your gooseberries just before they come out of their dormant winter phase. And this is because any pruning cuts that I make will quickly heal with the vigorous new growth of early spring. When I first started pruning, it all seemed quite complicated, but when you understand the basics, it's actually pretty simple. The main point to remember is that the best fruit is produced on 2 to 3 year old branches. In the 4th year, productivity will go down and it'll further decline as the years pass. So it's pretty obvious really when you think about it. No wood on the bush should be more than 4 years old. Anything older we prune out, it's going to be replaced by new growth, and that way the bush is constantly being renewed. Now, you might think I've left a little bit late to prune my gooseberries because we can see the leaf buds opening as the plant comes back into life in spring. But in fact, I've left it late on purpose. And this is because birds, particularly bullfinches, like to eat the winter buds, and leaving this thorny thicket of branches helps protect the bush. Now, before we start, we want to get an idea of the shape of bush that we want when we've finished our pruning. And basically, it's this open bowl shape. We want an open centre to the bush, and then with the branches growing outward and away from the middle. And the reason for this shape is it gives us plenty of air circulation, which is going to help avoid mildew. It allows plenty of light to ripen the fruit, and it makes the bush easier to pick. Okay, so let's get pruning. Now, you really want to use a good sharp secateurs, and if you have a number of fruit bushes or some fruit trees like pears or plums or apples, it really is worth investing in some top quality equipment like these classic Felco secateurs, or also from Felco these sharp bypass loppers for the larger cuts. Okay, so let's open up the centre of the bush to get that nice bowl shape that we were talking about. Now, I'm going to start by taking out one of the larger branches in the middle, and we can see by the dark colour here that that's actually one of the older branches, so a perfect one to remove. So we're going to get our loppers in here and we're going to remove him. So we can already see that with removing that one branch, we've already created a bit of space there, but now we need to remove any other branches, any smaller ones that are growing into the centre of the bush. So we're going to take that one, and this, and that one. Now lastly, we can start to adjust the yield of our bush if we want. If you've been getting a lot of small fruit and you'd prefer larger gooseberries, what we can do is some sort of fine-tuning pruning at this stage. And we're going to be concentrating on the side shoots. Now, you can see here, this is our main stem coming from the base of the bush, coming from the root straight up there, and that's the top of our main stem there. And these branches coming off either side, they're our side shoots, and we can prune them back, as I said, to adjust the yield. So if you'd like to come over here, I can show you where we're going to cut. We have darker bark here, dark brown wood here, and then this lighter wood the other side. And that's the transition point from, this is last year's growth that grew last season, and this is the growth that was put down the season before. So that's the joining point. And we can actually see here we have a lot of little fruiting spurs there. And what we can do is cut back this side shoot, and what we want to do is cut it to about 2 or 3 buds from that joining point. And when we're pruning, we always prune after either an upward or an outward facing bud. We don't want to prune a low hanging bud like that, because that's going to give us a branch pointing downwards, or we don't want to prune a bud that's going to give us a branch that grows into the centre of the bush, which obviously we've just cleaned out. So I'm going to prune just above this guy here, so we can see we're about 2 or 3 buds really in from the inside, and I'm going to cut him across there. So that's it. I hope it wasn't too complicated. We're going to have to speed things up now because I think we're going to lose the weather now. It's starting to rain. So the bush that we've just pruned, that's actually a 3-year-old bush, and it's a good example of a bush that needs training this bowl shape for future fruiting. So next year, in the 4th year, and every year after that, I'm going to be removing the 4-year-old wood, and that gives us our new supply of fresh fruiting branches. Now, you'll recognise the 4-year-old wood because it would tend to be thicker, it'll be darker in colour, and also from 4 years onwards you're going to start to see a little bit of peeling bark, so you should be able to identify them and prune them out. Now, just before we go, I'm going to do another bush really quickly, just to go through those steps again to try and get it fresh in your mind. Okay, let's get going. Now, step 1, if we remember. Are there any large branches just clogging up the centre of the tree? And the answer is yes. We have one big one here, so I'm going to take him out. Lovely. Okay, and then we're now looking for any branches that are growing into the centre. So take those out. And again, we're snipping those right back to where those side shoots are joining the main branch. We clean that out, and we can see already we're starting to get this nice open bowl shape here. You can come out too. Okay, so that's looking a lot better already. And now, step 3, and actually I forgot to mention it the first time, is that we need to look for any dead, damaged or diseased wood. Now, this bush is actually a 3-year-old, so everything seems fine there. There's nothing really to take out, but in older bushes you will see some dead wood. There'll be no leaves on it or no buds on it. Diseased wood, that can happen when 2 branches are rubbing and some disease has got in there. So just keep an eye out for that and then prune it out. The next step then, step 4, if you remember, we're looking for any crossing branches, any that are competing for the same space within the bush, and then any low-hanging branches that might trail on the ground, and of course those suckers, which are the little shoots that come up down beside the root of the plant. And I've got 3 here, so I'm just going to take those out, and that's right down to soil level there. That's them gone. When I look now down into the bush, I can see that this branch here is directly above the one underneath. And I can see by the colour of the one underneath, which is lighter, that it's a younger branch. So they're competing for the same sunlight, if you know what I mean. And so I'm going to take out the bigger one. Sometimes it seems a bit of a shame because it's a nice big healthy branch, but it's going to be good in the long run. So snipping him out. And now, look, we've got this lovely big open space then in the bush. So I'm just going to finish off then just by adjusting the fruiting a little bit. And I'm going to start pruning some of my side shoots here. And again, I'm pruning last year's growth just down to 2 buds above where the join is from the previous year's growth. And as with all the pruning, I'm looking for buds that are growing upwards or outwards away from the centre of the bush. I think the rain's coming now, so I'm just going to finish this off and we'll see you later. Okay, that's it. Now, it's all pretty easy, and whatever you do, you're not going to ruin your gooseberry bush beyond repair. And even if you only did step 1 and removed all the 4-year-old wood every year, you will vastly increase both the quality and the quantity of your gooseberry fruit. Now, if you'd like to watch any other videos on fruit and vegetable growing, do check out our Quickcrop YouTube channel. And if you'd like to purchase anything for your fruit and vegetable growing adventure, we can supply anything you need on our Quickcrop websites, quickcrop.ie and quickcrop.co.uk. I'll see you next time.